The night was cold and empty in the desert of the forgotten world. Stars shone faintly above the cracked land, and wind whispered through broken metal towers buried in sand. A human named Eli Carter, an engineer and explorer, walked alone under the twin moons. His ship had crashed 3 days ago, and he was searching for parts in the ruins of an ancient battlefield. His boots made soft crunching sounds on the dust. All around him, he saw the remains of old war machines, half-buried heads of metal beasts, shattered wings, and burned alien bones. He carried a small lantern, its light trembling in the wind. Then, he heard it, a faint cry. It was weak, almost like a sigh carried by the breeze. Eli stopped and turned. The sound came again, a soft, trembling voice. "Help, please." Eli's heart jumped. He lifted his lantern high and followed the sound toward a collapsed bunker. The door was twisted, half open. When he crouched and shone the light inside, his breath caught in his throat. A girl was lying there, pale blue skin, silver hair tangled with dust, and strange marks glowing faintly along her arms. Her body was wrapped in torn metallic fabric that shimmered even in the dark. She looked alien, but her eyes, when they opened, were full of fear and pain, almost human. "Don't move," Eli said softly. "You're hurt." She flinched at his voice, pressing her hand to her chest. "Human?" she whispered, voice weak and broken. "Yes," Eli said. "And you're safe now. I won't hurt you." For a long moment she didn't move. Then slowly she reached out her trembling hand toward him. Her skin was cold like ice. When Eli touched it, a faint pulse of light spread from her arm into his palm, like some kind of energy response. Eli looked at the wound on her side. It wasn't bleeding red, but glowing faint blue. He didn't understand what species she was, but she was dying. He tore off a piece of his jacket, pressed it against the wound, and lifted her into his arms. She was light, too light. He carried her back to his small camp by the broken ship. The fire flickered weakly, and the air smelled of sand and rust. Eli laid her near the fire and gave her water. She hesitated at first, then sipped slowly, her eyes never leaving his face. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly. She looked into the flames and whispered, "Hunters, metal ones. They killed everyone." Her voice shook. "I ran, I hid, but they followed." Eli looked toward the dark horizon. He had seen those metal shapes before. Automated killing machines still roaming after centuries. "You're safe here," he said. "They won't find you tonight." The girl looked at him strangely, as if trying to believe those words. "Why?" she asked. "Why save me?" Eli shrugged and gave a small smile. "Because someone had to." She didn't understand. Her world had taught her that no one helped for free. She studied him carefully. The worn jacket, the dirt on his hands, the tired but kind eyes. Something in her chest ached. Hours passed. The fire burned low, and she finally fell asleep, whispering in a language he didn't know. Eli wrapped a blanket over her and sat nearby, watching the shadows dance across the sand. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was out there, watching. Then, just as the first light of dawn touched the horizon, his portable scanner beeped. Motion detected. Eli stood up fast, grabbing his rifle. He scanned the area but saw only dunes and ruins. Still, the uneasy feeling grew stronger. When he turned back toward the girl, he froze. Her body glowed faintly again. The same strange light as before. Lines of energy moved across her skin, forming symbols in the air, floating for a moment before fading. "What the hell?" he muttered. Suddenly her eyes opened wide, glowing silver white. "They are coming," she said softly, her voice echoing unnaturally like many voices at once. Eli stepped closer. "Who's coming?" "The Seekers," she whispered. "They will not stop until I am taken." Eli looked at the horizon again. In the distance something moved, tiny dark dots against the golden dawn. "Machines. Damn it," he hissed. He ran to the wreck of his ship, pulling out an energy core and connecting it to a defense turret he'd been repairing. The turret came to life with a hum. He turned back to her. "If they find us, we're both dead." "Can you move?" She tried to sit up, wincing. "I can try." Eli helped her stand. Her body shook, but her eyes had changed, no longer scared but fierce. She pressed her glowing hand against the ship's hull, and energy surged through the metal. The lights brightened, systems coming online that had been dead for days. Eli stared in disbelief. "You just recharged my ship?" She gave a weak smile. Connected. The machines in the distance began to move faster, their metal legs slicing through the sand. Eli aimed the turret. Looks like your friends brought trouble. They are not friends, she said quietly. They are death. The turret fired, explosions lighting the horizon. The sound echoed for miles. Eli and the girl crouched behind the wreck, the shock waves shaking the ground. When the dust settled, the machines were gone, or maybe hiding again. The girl leaned against him, breathing hard. You're safe, Eli said softly. But she shook her head. No, they will return. And next time, they will bring more. Eli looked at her, the fear in her eyes mixing with something else, something ancient, powerful, and lonely. He didn't know who she really was, but he knew one thing for sure. His life had just changed forever. Far away in the shadows of the dunes, dozens of glowing eyes blinked awake. A signal pulsed silently through the wind. The human had touched the chosen one. And somewhere beyond the desert, a tribe of alien women began to move. The next morning, the desert was quiet again. Too quiet. The broken horizon shimmered under pale sunlight, and the air smelled like burnt metal. Eli sat beside the alien girl, checking the sky for any sign of movement. His scanner was silent, but his heart was not. The girl lay still, her eyes half open, watching him. Her skin had a soft blue glow now, faint but constant, as if light lived inside her. You didn't tell me your name, Eli said, breaking the silence. She looked down, her voice gentle. Lyra, Eli repeated, testing the sound. I'm Eli, and I guess we're both lucky to still be breathing. Lyra's eyes met his for a moment, then drifted toward the burned horizon. You saved me, she whispered. But you do not understand what that means. Eli frowned. I don't need to. I just did what anyone would do, she tilted her head. No one saves our kind. Humans fear us. Or destroy us, Eli chuckled dryly. You must have met the wrong humans, but Lyra didn't laugh. Her fingers traced the strange crystal embedded in her chest, a transparent gem that pulsed slowly like a heart. This, she said softly, is why they hunt me. It is called the Essence Core. It holds the memory of my people. Eli stared at it, fascinated. Like a data drive? Her lips curved faintly. Like a soul. She closed her eyes, and the core glowed brighter. Around them, faint lights appeared, floating shapes like ghostly images of her people, laughing, walking, building cities that no longer existed. Then they faded as quickly as they appeared. Eli stepped back, stunned. You carry their memories? Yes, she whispered. I was chosen to keep them alive. But when the hunters came, I ran. I failed them. Eli shook his head. You didn't fail anyone. You survived. That's what matters. For the first time, she looked at him with warmth. You speak like my mother once did, she said. Before they took her, Eli's chest tightened. He didn't know what to say. So instead, he began working on the ship again. The hull was cracked and fuel lines were broken. But maybe, just maybe, it could fly again with her help. As he worked, Lyra stood slowly, her bare feet leaving faint glowing prints in the sand. She looked around, her eyes scanning the landscape. This world, she murmured, was once green. Rivers, trees, skies full of song. Now only silence remains, Eli sighed. Humans did the same thing to their own home before learning better. Maybe, she said. Your kind learned because you lost everything too. Their eyes met again, two survivors from different worlds, both carrying the weight of extinction. Then suddenly the wind shifted. Lyra's head snapped up. They're close, she said. Eli grabbed his rifle. How do you know? The core feels them. The hunters are never far from the one who carries it. He cursed softly under his breath. Then we move. He packed what he could into his satchel, tools, rations, the portable battery. Lyra followed, though her steps were unsteady. She still looked fragile, but there was something inside her, a quiet power that made the air feel alive around her. As they walked across the dunes, Lyra spoke quietly. There were once many like me, keepers of cores, but when our queen fell, her daughters scattered. Some went underground, others vanished into the stars. So you're one of the queen's daughters? Eli asked. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. Her youngest. Eli nearly stopped walking. You're a princess? In name only, she said. There is no kingdom left to rule. They reached the edge of an old canyon by nightfall. Eli built a small fire again, while Lyra sat watching the sky. "Eli," she said softly, "your touch awakened the core. No human has ever done that before." He looked at his hands. "I don't even know what I did." "You lived," she said simply, "and your soul still burns." Before he could respond, the ground trembled faintly. A low hum filled the air, like machines whispering beneath the sand. Lyra stood up fast, eyes wide. "They've found us." From the ridge above, 3 figures appeared. Not machines this time, but women. Their skin glowed like Lyra's, but their expressions were hard and full of distrust. Each carried a staff that shimmered with blue light. One of them spoke in a harsh, melodic tone. "You, human, step away from her." Eli raised his hands, but Lyra stepped between them. "No, he saved me." The tallest alien woman frowned. "He touched the core, then the prophecy has begun." Eli looked confused. "What prophecy?" The woman's eyes glowed brighter. "The one that says a human's hand will wake the heart of our people." And before Eli could say another word, the other women dropped to one knee before Lyra and whispered in unison, "The Heir lives." The air grew heavy with silence after those words. "The Heir lives." Eli's pulse quickened. The 3 alien women still knelt before Lyra, their glowing symbols flickering in rhythm with the crystal in her chest. The faint hum of energy around them felt almost alive, like the air itself was breathing. Lyra looked shocked. "No," she said softly, shaking her head. "That cannot be true. My mother, she's gone." The tallest woman rose slowly. "The queen may have fallen, but her essence remains in you. The core confirms it. It sings." Eli looked from one to the other, confused but alert. "Okay, can someone explain what's going on before my brain melts?" The woman turned her gaze to him. Her eyes glowed like twin moons. "You're human. You touched the core of the Heir. That act binds your life to hers. Her pulse and yours are now one." Eli frowned. "Wait, what do you mean binds?" "I just helped her, that's all." Lyra's expression softened, but her voice was trembling. "Eli, it's true. When you touched me," the core responded, "it only reacts to living essence that matches the old code, something pure, something rare. So you're saying my DNA woke that thing up?" Lyra nodded slowly. "And that means the bond is real. You're part of it now." Eli looked at his hand, remembering the moment he touched her cold skin and the spark of light that traveled up his arm. "Great," he muttered. "I fix ships, not destinies." The second alien woman stepped closer, her face stern. "You should not mock what you do not understand, human. The core has chosen. That cannot be undone." Lyra raised a hand. "Enough. He doesn't know our ways." The tall woman nodded reluctantly. "Then he must come with us. The elders will decide his fate." Eli stepped back. "Hold on. I'm not going anywhere until I know it's safe." The woman's lips curved into a cold smile. "Nowhere on this world is safe anymore, not for you, not for her. The machines know the Heir has awakened." At that moment, the wind shifted again. A faint vibration moved through the ground. Lyra froze. "The hunters," she whispered. Without hesitation, the women formed a glowing circle around her. One drew strange symbols in the air, and light burst upward like a shield. The energy crackled as metallic shapes appeared on the horizon, dozens of spider-like drones gliding over the dunes. Eli grabbed his blaster and fired, but the shots bounced off their shells. "They're armored!" he shouted. Lyra clutched her core, its light intensifying. "I can hold them back, but not for long." The tall alien raised her staff. "Then we move." "Through the canyon!" Eli grabbed Lyra's hand and ran beside them. The ground shook as explosions erupted behind them. Drones dived from the air, firing beams of plasma. One struck the sand near Eli's foot, throwing him forward. Lyra turned and unleashed a wave of light from her core. The blast tore through the drones like thunder. When they reached the canyon's mouth, the women formed another circle. Their staves struck the ground and a hidden gate opened within the rock wall, a doorway shimmering like water. "Go." One of them shouted. Eli and Lyra stepped through, and in an instant the desert vanished. They emerged in a vast underground valley, lush and glowing with alien flora. Waterfalls of silver light cascaded from crystal cliffs. Hundreds of alien women looked up from their work, gasping as they saw Lyra. "She lives," one whispered. "The queen's bloodline returns." Eli stood frozen. The valley stretched farther than his eyes could see. It was a hidden world alive beneath a dead planet. The tall warrior turned to him. Welcome to Near Haven, human. Few outsiders have ever seen it and lived. Lyra stepped forward, trembling. You built all this? The woman nodded. We hid while the surface burned. We waited for the core to awaken again. And now it has, through him. She pointed at Eli. Every gaze in the valley turned toward him. Some eyes were curious, others full of hatred. A low murmur spread among the crowd, fear mixed with wonder. Eli raised his hands awkwardly. Hi, I'm Eli. I fix things. A ripple of uneasy laughter passed through the aliens. Lyra smiled faintly, but her core's glow dimmed as exhaustion overtook her. She fell to her knees, and Eli caught her just in time. She needs rest, he said quickly. The tall woman gestured toward a glowing archway. Take her to the Temple of Renewal. The elders will want to see her when she wakes. And you, she paused, her tone colder now, should prepare. The fate of our tribe may depend on what you choose next. Eli looked down at Lyra, her breathing soft and peaceful against his shoulder. He didn't understand what destiny they spoke of, but deep inside, he felt it. Something had started the moment he saved her. Above the glowing valley, unseen by all, the last of the drones transmitted one final signal before it died. Far beyond the dunes, a massive metal structure stirred, and thousands of red eyes flickered to life. The real war was only beginning. When Eli opened his eyes, he thought he was dreaming. He was lying inside a large glowing chamber, its walls alive with soft blue veins of light. Strange flowers floated in the air, releasing silver mist. He sat up slowly, wincing from the pain in his shoulder. His shirt was torn, but the wound beneath had been cleaned and sealed with a translucent band. Lyra lay nearby, sleeping peacefully on a bed made of woven crystal strands. The faint light from her chest pulsed gently, keeping rhythm with her breath. For a moment, Eli just watched her. Even in rest, there was something powerful about her presence, like the quiet before a storm. Then, a sound echoed behind him. Footsteps. He turned and saw one of the alien women from before, the tall warrior with the glowing staff. Her name, he remembered now, was Seren. She carried herself with the pride of a soldier, but her eyes were wary when she looked at him. You are awake, she said softly. Good, the elders will see you soon. Eli rubbed his forehead. Yeah, I'd like to know what's happening first. Where am I exactly? Seren stepped closer to the edge of the chamber and motioned toward the world beyond. Through the transparent wall, Eli saw the vast underground valley spread out before him. Lush forests glowing turquoise, rivers like liquid light, and high towers carved from stone and crystal. It was breathtaking. This is Near Haven, Seren said. The last sanctuary of our people. When the war above destroyed everything, we came here. The surface world belongs to the hunters now. Eli stared. You've been hiding here all this time? Yes, for 100 cycles, her voice lowered. And waiting for her. Eli followed her gaze toward Lyra. You mean the heir? Seren nodded. The bloodline of our queen. The core inside her carries the soul of generations. When you touched it, it awoke. That is why the machines moved again, Eli sighed. So, saving her started all this. Saving her, Seren said slowly, may also save us, or destroy us. Before Eli could ask what she meant, a gentle chime rang through the air. The chamber door opened and 2 more alien women entered. They wore long flowing robes that shimmered with symbols of light. The elders. Lyra stirred at the sound, her eyes opening. Eli, she whispered weakly. He knelt beside her. I'm here. You're safe. The taller elder smiled faintly. So the core truly bonded. The light responds to his voice. Lyra sat up, still pale. You brought us here. You protected the memory. I owe you my life. Eli shook his head. You don't owe me anything. I just did what was right. But his words caused murmurs among the others. The shorter elder's eyes narrowed. Right? Humans once said the same before the war burned our skies. Seren's hand tightened on her staff. Enough, this one is not like those before. The elder ignored her. His kind cannot be trusted. The core chooses strangely. Lyra stood shakily. The core chooses from truth, not fear. He saved me when no one else would. You may see danger in him, but I see hope. The elder's gaze softened slightly but didn't fade. Hope is fragile, child. We lost too much believing in it. Eli stepped forward, unsure why he spoke, but feeling the weight of her words. Maybe hope's all you have left. I've seen what the hunters did out there. You can't stay hidden forever. The elders exchanged looks. Perhaps, one said, that is why you were brought here, to remind us of courage. They turned and left, their robes trailing sparks of light. After a moment, Seren exhaled. You have made them think, human. That is not easy. Eli looked out again toward the glowing valley. The more he saw, the more he realized how advanced and beautiful their civilization once was. Now they were only survivors beneath the earth, afraid of their own past. He turned back to Lyra. What happens now? She smiled faintly. Now we rebuild. The core has awakened and the tribe will gather. They will want to see you. Eli raised an eyebrow. See me? Why? Because you are part of the prophecy, Seren said quietly. It was said that when the last heir meets the one whose soul burns with life, our world will rise again. Eli chuckled nervously. Yeah, no pressure, Seren didn't laugh. Many will worship you. Others will want you dead. Be careful who you trust. As she walked away, Eli looked back at Lyra. She was standing now, the core's glow brighter than ever, painting the room with soft silver light. Eli, she said softly, our people used to say that destiny begins with a single act of kindness. He smiled. Guess I'm in trouble then, she smiled back, but behind her eyes was something deeper. A secret. A memory she had not yet shared. Far above them, on the surface, dark shapes moved across the sand, machines scanning for a signal that pulsed faintly underground. They had found the trail again. The sanctuary of Neriel Haven would not stay hidden for long. The glowing valley of Neriel Haven had never seen a sunrise, only the soft pulse of the core crystals that mimicked the rhythm of a world long dead. But that day the light felt different, brighter, uneasy. Eli stood on a high balcony overlooking the alien gardens. Dozens of alien women below gathered in circles, whispering prayers in soft tones. Lyra stood in the center, her core glowing faintly beneath her chest. It pulsed like a heartbeat, strong, steady, alive. Serene approached him, her steps silent. They believe the heir's awakening has begun, she said. Eli crossed his arms. You mean this prophecy thing? Serene nodded slowly. When the core awakens fully, it will release the energy that once sustained our world. It could heal the planet, or destroy it if uncontrolled, Eli frowned. So we're sitting on a bomb made of light? Not a bomb, Serene said quietly. A rebirth. But rebirth comes with pain. Below, Lyra lifted her hands. Light spread from her palms, touching the air like waves on water. The ground shimmered. Vines grew faster, flowers unfolded, air filled with fragrance. The people gasped in awe. But Eli saw her face pale as the core's light flared too bright. Lyra, he shouted, running down the crystal steps. He reached her as she stumbled. You're pushing too hard, she smiled weakly. I have to try. The core is responding to something outside. Before he could answer, the sky above the cavern trembled. A distant boom echoed, followed by a shower of dust falling from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Screams filled the air. Serene ran forward, her eyes wide. They found us. Eli looked up. Cracks of red light tore through the ceiling as massive drilling machines punched through the rock. Drones poured in, metal spiders, flying serpents, things that looked like nightmares made of steel. Get back, Eli yelled, dragging Lyra behind a pillar. The aliens fought with energy staves, bright flashes lighting the cavern. Seren's staff sliced through one machine, but another leapt onto her back. Eli fired his plasma blaster, blowing it apart. Too many, someone screamed. Lyra pressed a hand to the ground, her core blazing. I can stop them if I can reach the heart chamber. Eli grabbed her arm. You're too weak. Her eyes glowed silver. If I don't, everyone dies. He looked around, the chaos, the fire, the terrified faces, and nodded. Then I'm coming with you. They ran together through the tunnels as explosions echoed behind them. The deeper they went, the brighter the light from her core grew, until the walls themselves began to glow. The tunnel opened into a vast circular room, a temple filled with ancient machinery and a single crystal heart floating above a pool of liquid light. This is it, Lyra whispered. The core's source. My mother built it. Eli looked around at the alien script on the walls. What do we do? Help me connect. She placed her hands on the surface of the pool, light spreading under her palms. I can merge the core with the heart. It will release the old power again. Eli knelt beside her, placing his hand over hers. The same spark from before returned, warm, electric, alive. The pool began to glow violently and the air hummed like thunder. "Lyra," he shouted over the roar. "It's working." The light exploded upward, creating a massive energy wave that tore through the tunnels. Machines froze mid-air, their red eyes turning black. The wave kept growing, spreading like dawn through the dark. But the energy was too much. Lyra screamed, her body trembling as the core blazed white-hot. Eli held her tightly. "Stay with me." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Eli, it's too strong. I can't." "Yes, you can." He pressed her hands tighter into the light. "I'm here." "You're not alone." The core's energy surged through both of them now. Eli felt pain, heat, and something deeper, a flood of memories not his own. He saw alien cities, the Queen standing tall beneath twin suns, the war that ended it all. And through it all, one message repeated in his mind. Hope must touch flesh to live again. Then silence. The light dimmed. The machines lay broken across the valley floor. Rivers glowed once more, their flow strong and clear. The air smelled clean again, alive. Eli opened his eyes to find himself lying beside the pool, Lyra still in his arms. Her breathing was weak, but she was alive. The core in her chest now shone a soft gold instead of blue. Serene rushed in, covered in dust. She looked around, eyes wide in disbelief. "You did it." "You restored the heart," Eli smiled faintly. "We did it." The other aliens gathered, staring at Lyra as she stirred. "The prophecy has begun," one whispered. But even as they celebrated far above the surface, the sky burned red. The hunter's mothership awoke from its slumber, its massive shadow spreading across the dunes. The awakening had saved one world and alerted another. The air in Neriel Haven felt different now. It was no longer the stale, silent air of hiding. It was alive, humming softly with new energy. Waterfalls of light flowed down the crystal cliffs again, and flowers that had been dead for centuries bloomed in silver and violet. But not everyone was celebrating. In the center of the valley, Eli sat beside Lyra as she rested in the healing chamber. Her core glowed softly, golden now, not blue. It pulsed with his heartbeat. Every few seconds he felt it, a faint echo inside his chest like their hearts were speaking to each other. He didn't understand it. He only knew it was real. When Lyra's eyes opened, they shimmered like the dawn. "You're still here," she whispered. Eli smiled tiredly. "You make it sound like I had somewhere else to go." She laughed softly, the sound light and fragile. "You should rest. The merge. It changed you." He rubbed his temple. "Yeah, I noticed. Every time you breathe, I feel it too." "That's not normal." Lyra looked at him seriously. "The core linked with your essence to survive the overload. Without you, it would have destroyed both of us, so now we're, connected?" "Yes," she said softly. "Life-bound. Until one of us fades," Eli blinked. "That's not terrifying at all." But despite his sarcasm, he couldn't look away from her. Something inside him felt different, stronger, but also fragile. When she moved her hand, the glow in her palm pulsed in time with his pulse. Outside the chamber, voices echoed. Angry voices. Serene entered quickly, her face grim. "The council is meeting. Some call you the restorer, others call you a danger." Eli sighed. "Let me guess. They don't like the idea of a human walking around with royal energy inside him." Seren nodded. "They fear what they do not understand." She looked at Lyra. "And they fear what your bond means." Lyra stood slowly, her strength returning. "Then I'll speak to them." Seren hesitated. "Lyra, you've only just awakened." "I am the heir," Lyra interrupted, her voice calm but firm. They must hear the truth. Eli followed her through the glowing corridors into the great hall, where hundreds of alien women had gathered. The light from the ceiling crystals cast shifting shadows on their faces, some filled with awe, others with suspicion. When Lyra entered, all fell silent. "My people," she began, her voice echoing. "The hunters are gone for now." The heart beats again. Life has returned to Neriel, but it came at a cost. She glanced back at Eli. "This human risked everything to help me restore what was lost. Without him, none of you would stand here today." A murmur rippled through the crowd. One of the elders rose, and yet his presence binds with royal blood. "Can we trust what we do not control?" Eli stepped forward before Lyra could respond. "You don't have to trust me," he said, voice steady. "But I didn't come here to rule or change you. I came here because someone needed help. That's all." The elder frowned. You speak of help, but you carry power meant only for our kind. Eli looked down at his hand, the faint golden glow that pulsed beneath his skin. If that's true, then maybe your kind and mine aren't so different after all. Lyra placed a hand on his arm, the light between them flaring gently. Gasps filled the room as the golden energy spread outward in soft waves. The walls brightened and flowers grew instantly from the cracks in the floor. Seren stepped forward, awe in her eyes. It's harmony, she whispered. Human and core joined in balance. The crowd quieted. Even the skeptical elder lowered her gaze. Perhaps the old stories were right. Perhaps the flame of life needed two hearts to burn again. Lyra turned to Eli, a faint smile touching her lips. Do you see now? The core doesn't just connect, it understands, he smiled back. Guess it picked the right hands. The hall erupted in murmurs, some of hope, some of fear. But one thing was clear. The bond between them had changed everything. Later that night, as the valley slept, Lyra stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing rivers. Eli joined her quietly. You should rest, he said softly. So should you, she replied with a small smile. But neither of us can sleep now, he chuckled. No, my heart won't stop racing. Lyra looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting the starlight of the cavern ceiling. That's because it's not just your heart anymore. Eli glanced at the horizon of crystal towers and distant waterfalls. So what happens next? She turned toward him. The bond is complete. Our fates are one. Together we can restore the world above. But the hunters will come again. They always do. Eli nodded slowly. Then we fight. Together. Lyra reached for his hand, their fingers glowing softly as they touched. Then together it is. Far above them, in the black void of the sky, the hunter mothership turned its massive eye toward the planet's surface. It had found the core's signal again, and as the light of Neriel Haven shimmered below, war began to stir once more. The twin moons hung above the broken sky like pale eyes, watching silently as the world prepared for war again. Deep within Neriel Haven, alarms echoed through the crystal halls. Warriors ran to the surface tunnels carrying glowing staves and plasma bows. The golden rivers that once shimmered peacefully now pulsed faster, as if the planet itself felt the coming storm. Eli stood on the edge of the defense tower, staring up at the faint red lights descending through the atmosphere. Hundreds of hunter drones, more than before. Above them, a colossal ship hovered in the clouds, dark and silent, its core burning with crimson light. They're here, Serene said, gripping her staff beside him. The mother of machines has awakened. Eli adjusted the rifle strapped to his shoulder, though he knew it wouldn't be enough. How many people can fight? Every able one, Serene said. But if they reach the heart chamber again, all we've rebuilt will burn. Behind them, Lyra appeared, her golden aura soft but steady. Then they won't reach it, she said firmly. Eli turned to her, worry in his eyes. You're still recovering. You shouldn't be here, Lyra smiled gently. My world breathes through me now. If I hide, it will die with me. We fight together, remember? He wanted to argue, but he couldn't. She was right. Outside the cavern, the first explosions lit up the horizon. Metal and fire rained down on the sand, shaking the earth. The alien women fought bravely, their weapons glowing like stars. But the hunters were endless, cold, mechanical, unfeeling. Eli and Lyra reached the front lines. He fired his blaster, cutting down drones, while Lyra raised her hands and sent waves of golden energy sweeping through the battlefield. Each burst of light shattered dozens of machines, but each blast weakened her, stealing color from her cheeks. Lyra. Eli shouted over the noise. You're burning too much energy, she gasped, clutching her chest. The core. It's drawing from both of us. Eli grabbed her hand, their bond flaring like a sun. The golden glow spread outward, forming a massive barrier around the valley. Energy crackled like lightning as Hunter Blast struck the shield and dissolved. The warriors cheered, but Eli felt his strength fading fast. His vision blurred. How? Are we holding this? Lyra's voice trembled. Because you won't let go, he smiled weakly. Never was good at quitting. But then the ground shook violently. The mothership above opened, revealing a massive energy cannon glowing red, its light aimed directly at them. Serene's voice came over the comm crystal. Eli, Lyra! It's charging, run! Lyra turned to him, tears in her glowing eyes. We can't run. If it fires, it will destroy everything. Eli looked up at the sky, then back at her. Then we stop it. Before she could speak, he placed both hands over her core. The golden light surged wildly, surrounding them both. Eli, no, she cried. He smiled softly. You said our fates are one. Then let me be part of this world too. The core's light exploded upward, merging with the planet's own energy. Beams of gold shot through the clouds, striking the mothership's cannon before it could fire. The red light shattered, and for a brief moment the sky turned pure white. The blast wave rippled across the desert, tearing apart the hunter fleet. Machines fell like rain, their metal bodies turning to dust before hitting the ground. The mothership cracked open, its heart consumed by the same golden fire that burned in Lyra's core. Then silence. The storm passed. The light faded. Lyra fell to her knees, gasping for air. Eli, she whispered. But he was gone. Only faint motes of light floated in the air where he had stood, slowly drifting toward her chest. The core inside her pulsed once, then settled, warm, peaceful, alive. Tears ran down her cheeks. She felt his heartbeat inside her, steady and calm. He wasn't gone completely. He had become part of the core, part of her, part of the world he had saved. Serene approached quietly, kneeling beside her. He gave everything. Lyra nodded, her voice trembling. He gave hope. Days later, the valley bloomed brighter than ever before. Rivers of gold ran across the surface, reviving the dead lands. The hunter's signal vanished from the skies. Life returned. The tribes gathered before the heart chamber, where Lyra stood tall, the golden core glowing softly in her chest. My people, she said, voice strong yet tender. Our world lives again, not because of power, but because of kindness. A single human saw value in life beyond his own. Let that be our lesson for all time. The crowd bowed their heads in silence, the light of renewal washing over them. Above them, the first true sunrise in centuries broke through the clouds. Lyra looked toward it and smiled. He is the light now, she whispered, and through him we live. The wind carried her words across the glowing sands, and somewhere in that golden light she could almost hear his voice again. Guess I fixed more than a ship this time.